Come with me on this fine fresh Monday morning and we have got a brand new second-hand automatic gearbox to go into this Nissan nose. As you can see already, I have already got the front wheels off. We need to get the drive shafts out, but first of all we need to make plenty of room around the front here, remove the cross member because we need to get this radiator out of the way, to remove the starter motor so we can undo the torque converter off the flex plate to the starter motor hole. Now we've got everything out of the way, just look how much room we've got. That is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, let's get the starter motor off and start undoing the flex plate. Now that we've got the starter motor off and we can see the flywheel, flex plate, whatever you want to call it, get yourself a ratchet on the crank and we'll take the engine clockwise until you see the flex plate bolts. And all we've got to do then is just undo them 4 bolts around the flywheel or flex plate and we can carry on removing the gearbox as we normally would. And this is where these magnetic Surdorf sockets come their own. You're not dropping the bolts in the bell housing. Now just drop the car down just so I can get underneath the bonnet and make sure everything is unplugged off the gearbox, all the wiring lumen, etc. And there's nothing going to be catching it when I'm removing it. So we'll get the car back up in the air now and everything is from underneath. Now we've got the engine supported with the apprentice, and get your gearbox stand underneath the transmission, undo the 3 bolts on the gearbox. You can do everything from underneath, and then the last 2 16s, 17s on the top of the bell housing. Then we can get this box out. And there we go, that is one gearbox removed from the engine. Now when you're removing it, just be careful with this torque converter, because when you're pulling it off and you're being a bit rough with it, they do fall off sometimes and you can have gearbox oil everywhere. Anyway, let's jump round to the flex plate. And what you need to do is just have a little look around it and be checking for cracks. If it's got any cracks in it needs replacing. Now before we install this brand new second-hand gearbox, we've just literally got to swap the sump over, because as you can see it is as rotten as a pear. And while it's off, we're going to make sure that everything's nice and clean in the gearbox. Now we've got it all ready for the new one to, well, the brand new second-hand one off the original box to go on. I've cleaned the magnets in the bottom of the sump and I've cleaned all the gasket up, and what I'm going to be using is a little bit of Loctite. That is absolutely insane. And how I'll apply it is a little syringe all the way around, just so it's nice and neat. A little bit like that. Now what a lot of people do, they put the sealant on and then they put the component back on. No, you do not want to do that. You need to leave it about 10-15 minutes, let it get a bit of a skin on it, and then apply the component back to it. Right, now let's get this brand new second-hand gearbox back in. Now see the bolt holes? Align it almost pretty much in the middle of the starter motor where it should be. Then you've got your flex plate in the same place, so you haven't got to piss about lining stuff up after. And there we go, that is the gearbox back in. What we're going to do, we're just going to put some fresh transmission fluid in it. It does take 7.1 litres, but before we put all this front end on it, it's easy access here, we're going to get about 5 litres in it, and then we can finish it off. And there we go, that is the car all back together now, and I have topped the gearbox fluid up. Make sure it's nice and warm. Hold it down in every gear for about 10 seconds, get all that transmission fluid round, and just keep checking that level. When all the levels are tickety-boo, jump in the car, put it into duh. There we go, into duh for daytime. Drive and reverse. Anyway, put it into park. And there you go, that is one automatic gearbox replacement in a Nissan Note. We'll take it down the road now, put a bit of a test drive, and we'll get it sent.